Zodiac 85X presents Team
This is for the young lady who calls herself Soup is Life 8. First of all, I hope you're eating vegan soup, and if you're not, go ahead and Google it. There's plenty of really amazing recipes.
Okay, you don't have to have vegetable soup. I mean, even if you're having vegetable soup, it's still a lot better with chicken broth in there, or some kind of flavoring that has animal product, which makes it that much better. I mean, Campbell's would be laughing at you right now. If you're just going to throw carrots in water, you might as well not call it a soup at all.
Second of all, you said that it's not okay for vegans to push their agenda on people, right? But you would do the exact same thing. I mean, let me show you. If there was a person being mean to a black person or a member of the LGBTQ community in your classroom, wouldn't you say, hey, cut it out? Wouldn't you just say, that's not okay? Or would you say, oh, it's okay. We can be a little bit racist. We can be a little bit homophobic.
Now I can see why so many communities are mad at you. You see, non-human animals don't have to worry about being judged for the color of their fur or what they believe in. They don't have to face the same struggles in life we do. They don't have to worry about being hated on because of their gender. The stuff that we go through can traumatize a person, can make them miserable. Non-human animals don't have to worry about working a job. They don't have to live life carrying the same burden as we do on our shoulders.
No, it's not okay. You see, the difference is that you've been conditioned by society to not even see the victims. But they are there, by the billions. Every single time that you pick up a fork and stab it into a dead animal on your plate, that came from a lot of suffering. I am their voice. We are their voices, and you should be too. You should be vegan right now. Do it.
Okay, you're not the voice for the animals. Even if the animals could speak, they wouldn't support you. Animals, much like wolves, stick with their own kind. Some hunt in packs. Some just hang together because that's their species. Much like us, being humans, we stick with our own kind. Yes, we do have pets. That is a different story. But you don't see other animals having pets. That's what makes us different. We're not the same. You can't put them at the same level. I mean, if you think about it, there's just too many differences between us and them. It's okay for us to eat them because we're a different species. It would be cannibalism if people ate their own kind. Animals could care less if you fight for them. They honestly don't care. And we're trying to end racism in the world, and here you are promoting it by being prejudiced.
Hello, students. Today I want to invite you to think about horses. Do we have a right to have horses, to keep them as pets?
Ah, great. Not this again. Last time she was talking about riding horses. Now she's complaining about owning horses. Lady, look, don't you own a dog? Same difference.
Where did these horses come from? What was their life like when they were a baby and their spirit was broken so that we could put harnesses on them and tie them up and then get on them and ride them just for our own pleasure?
Okay, lady. I don't think you understand how survival works. When they were in the wild, they had no shelter. There was really no safe place away from predators because there were always predators around. Finding food was difficult for them at times. And as far as the babies go, they had to seek protection from the adult horses. So I don't want to hear it. And as far as saddles and all that go, horses actually love to be ridden. And they actually need the exercise anyways, as long as you don't abuse them and overwork them. See, horses will actually give a signal when they're excited. They'll give kind of a head nod, and that'll give you the okay. Horses love bonding. Also, even if we left horses alone and left them out in the wild, as time went on, they would eventually find us again and come back to us because horses love people.
What gives us the right to think that we can treat other sentient beings like this? Who are we? What kind of monsters have we become that we don't even see that it's not okay?
Hey, lady, how is this any different than your dog? Your dog wears a full body harness, not to mention your dog is on a leash. So, by your thinking and your logic, would you put your family member on a leash? You certainly do, Bella. And check this out. You also pull your dog when you're going out walking. She don't need to be pulled like that.
Animal abuse has become so normalized in our society that we think nothing of it. But these horses should have been allowed to be free. They should be out in fields with their families. They should not be used as slaves by us, as objects bred and ridden. Let's leave animals alone.
Look, if you think abuse is being normalized, then there will be no reason for law enforcement or protection of any kind, especially animal control. None of that would exist if abuse was being normalized. You always think the smallest things are abuse, like riding horses. But if you want to talk about how riding a horse is animal abuse, then let's talk about how hard you pulled Bella across the road being animal abuse. I mean, you decide which one's worse. Riding a horse or dragging your dog across the road?
Hang on a minute, I thought that we were top of the food chain apex predators with canines, so why are we freaking out when we find chicken parts in our dead chicken box meal? What sort of natural meat eater gets grossed out by the parts of the animal that they're eating? And if you're that offended by a few feathers, imagine how you'd feel if you had to cut the animal's throat yourself.
Hello, Earthling Ed. We finally meet at last. You know, a lot of vegans look up to you. They see you as their idol. But guess what, Ed? It's time to debunk you. In your video, you were talking about animal parts. Well, you know what, Ed? Chicken is already animal parts. Why would a few feathers bother me? It might bother some people, but not everyone. And you want to know what bothers me more than a few feathers? Pickles floating around in my drink. Imagine someone backwashing into a drink and there's pickles floating around. What will gross you out more, Ed? Think about what you're saying. I mean, come on. If chicken feathers are still in there and the whole thing is chicken, why would I be grossed out? It's all animal product from the same animal. I mean, it's different if something else gets caught in the machine. But that's not what we're talking about, Ed. We're talking about feathers. Are you hearing yourself? And it's already fried. It's cooked out. Any bacteria is destroyed. Think about it. Another thing, Earthling Ed. It said she was angry, not grossed out. If you're going to start adding words into a story, be sure to show proof, Ed. I'm just saying. Don't just start throwing words out there that don't exist in the story to try to make it look worse than it is. Because it's a professional business. They need to do their job. That's what they get paid for. If something isn't removed properly, then how is it going to be a professional business? Think about it. This goes with any type of food, Ed. This could be with both vegetables and meat. It doesn't matter what the food is. It needs to be done properly. I'm just saying.
Here in the meat section of the grocery store, there's a sign saying no crates, no cages, no crowding. Yeah, does that make the dead flesh moral to eat?
Okay, I think you're missing the point here. What you said is actually irrelevant to what that sign actually meant. That sign was not stating whether it was moral or not to eat animals. Instead, it was just letting you know to respect their company policy. And that's all that sign actually meant. Companies have the right to enforce policies to protect their business, customers, and employees. It just seems like you're the type of person that even if you've seen a no skateboarding sign, you would be like, how does this make it moral to eat animals? So basically, your argument against that sign is completely invalid, buddy.
If you lived in an uncrowded environment Would that make it moral for someone to cut your throat open at a fraction of your lifespan?
Again, what you're saying is completely invalid. Why are you even using that sign as a way to justify your cause? And also, no matter how crowded it is, the meat's still gonna taste just as good.
Yes, that vegan teacher is my mum. It's a long story, but basically I have two mums. That vegan teacher is my Canadian mum, and then I have my mum at home here in Australia.
Wait a minute. You were very vague in this video. It says she's your biological mom, but were you referring to that vegan teacher or the one you live with now? And also, who is the father? You left out so much important detail. Even if you could make a short version of the story, you could have at least gave us the details or specifics at least. Is the father the guy living with that vegan teacher, or is that your stepdad? And is your biological father living with your mom you're living with now? That's what I want to know.
If you care about animals but eat meat, dairy and eggs, you're a hypocrite. How could you possibly claim to care about animals whilst forcing them into murder factories to have their throats slit and bodies chopped into pieces just for your 10-minute meal?
You do realize we could use that exact same Uno reverse card on you, right? I mean, you eat plants, so you must not love plants, right? And what's that? You say you love flowers? No, you don't, because you eat broccoli, and that's a flower. But anyways, yeah, we could use that same tactic on you. You're supposed to love all of life. So no matter what you eat, there's no way around it. Obviously, you wouldn't eat something you hated, right? If people hated chicken, why are they eating it? That's the thing. It's a complete opposite. We eat to help us survive. It doesn't mean we hate those things. The only difference is if you've created an attachment to something. If you create a bond with something, making it like family, you won't eat it. And that's the difference. It could be the same thing with plants. There might be something that was specially given to you and it has a lot of importance to you. You wouldn't eat that either. Now, I can understand if there is something so invaluable to you that you couldn't create a bond with or benefit from, whether it be a plant or an animal, then I can understand that you not loving it at all.